Siberius, and we about to get serious. It's the real Siberius, making fanboys furious.
Hello, YouTube, and welcome to The Real Siberius. On this episode, I want to talk about there will never be another Michael Jordan. First, let me break down what Jordan is to me so I can define why there will never be another. Jordan is perfection, and by that, I do not mean he never lost, he never made mistakes, he never failed. Perfection as an athlete is impossible to achieve without all of those things. Jordan is perfection because of all of them. Heroes have to struggle, overcome, and persevere. Fanboys love bringing up Jordan losing to Bird as if it's a negative. They bring up the Pistons like losing to them was a negative. They simply can't comprehend that failure is and will always be an integral part of success. However, in order for it to be a part of your success, you have to learn from it. You have to grow from it. It has to strengthen you. You have to overcome it, not let it overcome you. When Jordan lost to Bird, he lost after putting in a Herculean effort. He put up an all-time playoff record with 63 points. Yes, he got swept. Yes, he lost. But even Bird said, that wasn't Michael Jordan over there. That was God dressed up as Michael Jordan. I don't believe in excuses, but I do believe in context. And the context is Bird played on possibly the greatest team ever assembled with 5 Hall of Famers. Jordan had Oakley, Paxson, and Woolridge. While the Bulls did lose, I think that game was a success. Name any other player that had Jordan's team, obviously without Jordan, that could have kept those games that close, that could have put in that level of effort against that team. However, losing is losing. I don't subscribe to the needs more help narrative or Jordan was young. If you lose, and you take it like a man, like Jordan did. Losing to the Pistons. The Pistons played bully ball. They literally beat people up. Not figuratively, they literally beat people up. They played dirty. They took cheap shots. They were out for blood and often got it. Malice at the Palace was a tickle fight compared to a regular season game versus the Pistons. Again, though, I don't make excuses. If the league was allowing this type of play, the Bulls could have jumped on board and started playing dirty as well. I'm glad they didn't, but it is a choice they could have made, and it could have made their road to victory easier. However, like his career demonstrates, Jordan doesn't let others dictate his game. He's going to do it his way. And by his way, I don't mean he's uncoachable. I don't mean he isn't willing to change or grow. I mean he isn't going to let what other players do change the way he does what he does. Bird built Jordan's heart. The Pistons built his body and mind. Greatness is forged in the crucible of hardship. He came, he saw, he conquered. However, all of these attributes don't make Jordan, though. They're simply pieces in the puzzle. He's the most fundamental player to ever play the game. I've watched hundreds of hours of basketball, maybe even thousands. I used to watch instructional videos, even though I never really played the game in any organized fashion. I found the fundamentals of the game fascinating. Pivoting and sliding your feet, when you stand up, remembering to get low and keep your butt parallel to the floor before you move again on defense. Offensive fundamentals are great and necessary, but they hold little interest to me because so many players and so many different types of players can be successful on offense. However, Very, very few players can be considered elite defenders, and Jordan did both. The term two-way player always dumbfounded me because a basketball player plays both ends of the court. A selfish player doesn't play defense. They have manipulated language today to trivialize the negative impact a one-way player has on their team in the game. One-way player is a term that should exist, and it's a negative one. It's a moniker that should be worn like a scarlet letter with embarrassment and humiliation. Winning. Winning has lost all of its meaning and value. And this doesn't just mean championships. Winning on a collective whole for the entirety of a career has almost been forgotten and even dismissed. From November 7th, 1990 until his retirement from the Bulls in 1998, Jordan never lost 3 consecutive games in a row. This isn't luck. This is an unrelenting determination to not lose. This is a dedication to winning. This is a refusal to accept anything but. As I mentioned earlier, perfection is unattainable. In sports, you will lose. Sometimes, even when you should have won. The basketball gods are fickle and will do everything they can to keep you humble. However, not losing 3 consecutive games in 8 years is just insane. 24-0 with a home court advantage. It's numbers like this that can't truly be comprehended or appreciated. Never letting a team beat you in the playoffs when you're at home is just crazy. Talk about defending your house and not letting others take advantage of your advantage or take your advantage away from you. 2 three-peats, 6-0 in the finals. I can't talk about winning without bringing up the championships. However, whenever I bring up the championships, I mention 2 three-peats first. I always mention three-peats first because 6-0, while impressive, is not regarded in the same revelry as winning 3 back-to-backs and then winning 3 back-to-backs again. Three-peat matters, and it matters because it's very, very rarely been done in NBA history. Competitor. Some of you may disagree with me here, and that's fine. Kobe loved basketball, Jordan loved competing, and basketball was his vessel. I don't think this takes away anything from either of them. And let me be clear, with that being said, I still believe that Jordan was a better basketball player. But I think it was his refusal to let anyone beat him that drove him to be the absolute best player in the game. I think Kobe, while also an incredibly competitor, was driven by his absolute love for the game of basketball. This is just my opinion, but I would be interested to hear what you guys think. I don't think a more competitive player of any sport has or will ever exist. Jordan wanted to beat everyone at everything. Basketball, golf, even rolling a quarter on the floor to see who could get it closest to the wall. It doesn't matter. He also didn't just want to win. He wanted to destroy you, to humiliate you. Winning wasn't good enough. He took it personal. I could easily turn this into a multi-hour video where I give more examples and more context. But to sum it up, there will never be another player that encompasses all of these attributes. These days, it's almost impossible to find a player that encompasses one. He's the greatest because he was elite at everything. He didn't have holes in his game, and he was always hungry. I never heard him say it, but I think he would agree with Brady. When someone asked Brady, which is your favorite ring, he responded with, the next one. And I think Jordan would agree with that. He refused to accept victory as an end. I think given a choice, he would have continued after 1998 with the Bulls and would have continued winning. However, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't believe in would have, could have, or should have. Could he have won 10 rings? Yeah, it's entirely possible, but we'll never know. And I don't fake praise people for things that never happened, or things that could have happened, or things that should have happened. Anyway, that is the end of the video. I do want to shout out Medestinier. I will leave a link to the video where I got this footage from. So please go and check out their channel. I was going to say they do some excellent work over there. Anyway, I do want to give a shout out to the content creators that continue to inspire me to do this. Uncommon Sense, Angry Old Hoops, Self-Researched NBA Facts, 93Z, Sports and Fitness Rants, Uncut Hoops, Speam Engine, In Your Face Hoops, Eddie TV, King Speech Row, Goatcast Hoops, DZ Shooting. I always appreciate your guys' takes, your perspectives, and your humor. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.